Hello everybody, Hebrew77 here, and today I'm going to cook pepper steak and rice. And a lot of you might wonder, well, what the heck is pepper steak and rice? Well, if you were watching our show last night, like you should have been, our Saturday night matinee, you would have heard all about pepper steak and rice. So first thing that's very important that you must do before cooking pepper steak and rice is to get a shirt that represents who you are. And if you're cooking pepper steak and rice right, it has to have like a punch to it. So I chose the cobra symbol because pepper steak and rice should be served to tough bad guys. Well, it can be served to tough good guys too, but you know, I just had the cobra shirt, decided to throw it on. You want a shirt that you don't mind getting too messy because this stuff's going to kind of splash around a little bit and blah blah blah. So with that all being said, let's get. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is prep your kitchen, and I like to do this by using very specific ingredients. The Force Fox 5, as I like to call them. You have your celery. You have your green onions, and of course your green peppers. Now garden time's over with, so I had to go buy my green peppers, but during the summertime when I do this, of course I use my garden grown green peppers. And of course you're going to need steak, but we'll get to that later on. First, let's chop our vegetables. I got here a tool. Here I got it on the camera. This is really good for chopping vegetables or even like thinly sliced pieces of meat that you can cut. I wouldn't suggest cutting steak with it, but it will chop like thinly sliced chicken breast or something like that. Stuff that's already been cooked. So now I got my vegetables here. And of course anytime you get vegetables, you of course want to wash them. Let me lower the camera here so you can see my paper plate. I use a paper plate. I don't believe in cutting boards. And since I don't use a knife, I don't need a cutting board. Now these celeries, as you can see on the package there, they are washed and ready to eat. Celery, the easiest thing you can get. These do not have stalks, so these are the easiest to chop. I'm going to grab about, I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 celery stalk or celeries there. You could put in however many you want, but we bunch them together. We take our little chopping tool here and we start chopping. Now if these do happen to hit your fingers, they're not as sharp as a knife, so you really don't have to worry about them getting cut. Well, you probably will get cut, but it's not going to cut off your fingers like an actual knife will be. Now I like to chop these in little fine pieces. Sometimes I'll chop them in big chunks. What you might find is you might have to do it twice or 3 times or whatnot have you. So now I got those chopped, and I'm going to go ahead and get out a pan here. So I got a medium pan here. This is what I'm going to cook my steak with. And what you're going to want to do, you get your medium pan over here. You got it there. And let's get the camera on it. Better camera than this, a taller one that would have shot over my shoulder, but a tripod I mean. But here is your olive oil. Let me tuck in my gut there. You take your olive oil and you're going to season your pan first. So get lots of olive oil in there and voila. Alright, we season our pan. And when you're seasoning your pan, you get some lemon pepper seasoning there. Oh, sorry. Lemon pepper seasoning. Just sprinkle a little bit of that in your pan. Sometimes it clumps together, so what you're going to want to do is smash it down. Smash it down. And put it in your hand. and crush it so you pre-season. This is what we call pre-seasoning the pan. You want to get that all pre-seasoned there. And this will melt down, even if it's in clumps, it will melt down once the pan is hot and starts cooking. And we're going to leave that out because we're going to pour that on our steaks once we get our steaks cooking. So now, you'll also want to season it with a little bit of garlic powder. That's what that is, garlic powder there. So we're going to pour a little bit of garlic powder into our pan. And that is how we pre-season our pan. Now, take that celery that you chopped up and put it in there. Just drop it right in there. It's fine. When you start cooking your steaks, you can move it to the side. Now the oil's not going to move around until you got to heat it up. So let's chop some more vegetables now. Our green onions have not been pre-washed. I like to get about 3 or 4, 5 or 6, but you don't need to wash onions. Onions are in the ground. They're not sprayed with pesticide, so they're very good. And if you want to make sure they're totally clean, the trick to a green onion is you take the bottom here. Some people like to use these for chives, and we will use them for chives to put in our sauce. But what you do is you just peel back your layers on your green onions, and that's the trick, and then you don't have to wash them. Now you see these tops here, these roots. Let me get off to the side here so you guys can really see the roots. What I like to do is I take these roots, instead of chopping that off, you take your thumb, and you just take the crease of your thumb there and get underneath. Boom. There is a clean onion. Take your roots off. So now let's start chopping our onions. Okay, so now I got all my onions prepped, and the thing about onions is if you feel just like a little bit of sliminess or whatever, don't worry about that. Onions are slimy, that's what they do. So now I got all my onions lined up here. Now if they're particularly too slick, then I would be curious about that. But anyway, let's see. A good overhead shot of the onions. Yeah, you can see the onions here. So I'm going to take our vegetable cutting tool. I'm just going to put those away. Now remember, these are kind of slick, not totally slick. So usually if I'm cutting these with a knife, I cut the heads first, and then I turn them around and cut the tails, but I didn't keep much of the tails, so you only need to do that. So once you got that, you don't really have to get these fine, but I do like to fine chop them on my onions sometimes. But with green onions, you really don't need to get them too fine because they liquefy when they're in the pan. So we're going to put these in that pan. And then we'll get to our peppers. Now on with the peppers in the meal, and I wanted to choose 2 nice, really sized peppers, really good sized peppers, and I did wash these off because they do spray those with pesticides. So we take one at a time, and I will be using a knife for this to carve into the pepper. You just simply want to, is the camera on me or on the pepper? I want you guys to see this, what I'm doing. Can you guys see what I'm doing, or is my hand blocking it? Who cares? Anyway, so you just make a nice little slice like that, take the top off, and then you take these seeds out like so. You just reach your hand down in there and yank those out, throw them away. Now there's something I wanted to show you guys. Some people like to cut around this. Well, where is it? Like to cut around this. But what I do is I just slice it around like this. Let me show you here. This is all I do. I just make my slices around the membrane there. Just slice all around, and you throw that away, of course. And I don't cut these innards out either. Some people cut around them. I just use the whole thing. So we want to slice, and we'll slice, and we'll slice. Now you could, I'm cutting towards myself, don't ever do that. Do that, and this, and like that, the ends. Use everything. These peppers are nice sized peppers. They're good for you. Now what we could do, if we wanted to, is take these and take our chopping tool. See, what you want is you want big, nice slice chunks like these, and you throw them in your pan. Those go around the steak. But what I'd like to do is get nice little nice little thin slices here, just to put, you know, round steak. I'm going to keep this on the plate until my steaks are just about ready. Slice, see, slice, put that over there. Not much room on this plate. Slice, slice, slice. That's nice. That's why we can't use our cutting tool. There we go. Do that, and then do that, and there you are. Now, what you want to really kind of watch out for, you don't want big chunks like that. Just throw that away. That's got the membrane into it. So we've cut off the membranes, and then we just want nice, even, thin slices. We don't want big chunks. There you go. Now, if you want to, in other words, you don't want to chop your peppers. You don't want to dice them. You just want to slice them. Don't ever dice them. So here you go. Woo! And now this is a knife, so I could very well take off a finger. There we go. That's a nice big slice there. Cut that. And then we got... Now normally I would chop these, but this is for a different reason. This is for pepper steak and rice. So we don't chop these, we slice them. You want to slice them. Okay, there you go. Now you got a nice plate full of peppers there. And I might not use the other one, or I might choose to use it. Ha ha! Now that our vegetables are chopped, we want to preheat our pan before we start putting our steaks in it. So what I do is I get that pan on there and I get it preheated. We'll let that pan heat up, and now let's pull out our steaks. Here is 3 beautiful sirloins here. I'm only going to use maybe 2 of them. So I'm going to take this one out of the middle and this one here at the end, and I'm going to slice them in strips this way, and then cube them up. You'll see how I do that here in just a second. But I just wanted to show these are beautiful pitty sirloin, black Angus. These are good steaks. So let's go ahead and slice our steaks. When slicing meat, always keep in mind that meat carries very much bacteria on it. Even beef. Like, beef is not as bad, but you know, it is pretty bad. I know I'm slicing it awkwardly here because I want little tiny strips, about like this camera there, about like that. So I'm going to slice these into little bitty strips of meat. Slippery little sucker, isn't it? Alright, just slice. This isn't the sharpest knife. That's another thing. When slicing your beef, make sure you have a sharp knife. I think instead of going into strips, I'm just going to cube it up. That's the easiest thing to do. We'll just put it in chunks, and that's what I'm doing here. You're going to want to keep the fat on these because the fat actually makes it, gives it more flavor. That looks like a tough piece there, but we'll get it. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not a very good meat slicer. This knife isn't the sharpest knife for cutting meat. So, now you can hear that pan is sizzling. So I'm going to throw my meat chunks in there. Now, just as important as, all this is, safety of course, it's just as important after you've handled any kind of meat, especially pork and fish, stuff like that. Pork and chicken and fish. Wash your hands. Now beef, not so much. Beef you don't really have to worry about. In fact, I can eat those beef meats just the way they are. But it's still probably a pretty good idea to wash your hands to keep from cross-contamination. And I'm going to wash that knife off as well. So now we have our beef chunks here. We're just going to go ahead and plop those into the pan. And we're going to go ahead and move our pan around like so. And flip it a little bit. Do a little bit of flipping. And I've got some teriyaki sauce I'm going to put on that. Let me get my teriyaki. Here's my teriyaki sauce. And I'll get that open here, hopefully before any of that sort of burns. And I know you guys are screaming at the top of your lungs at your TV screens right now or your computer screens. Hebrew, what are you doing? You're supposed to soak the meat in teriyaki first, not put it in at the last minute, and I realize that. But this is okay. This is okay. Let's go ahead and move our pan, though. We're going to shake our pan. And you at home might not want to attempt to flip your pan like such, like I'm doing, because you may end up splashing it onto your stove and could cause a really bad fire, and then you'll burn your house down and you'll end up without a house. So here we go. Yes, I'm still peeling away the teriyaki. So whilst I'm doing that, let me go ahead and shut the camera off. Okay, so what I've done is I've added a little bit more meat, and now I've finally got this teriyaki open. So we're gonna douse it in teriyaki sauce. Douse it really good. Douse it. Okay, there we go. We got the teriyaki sauce on there, and here a little bit later I'll show you what that looks like. Now what we'll do is we'll put a lid. Got a good sized lid here. Put the lid on there. And when the meat starts to get good and brown, that's when I'll throw my peppers in there. So we got the peppers. And now I'm going to show you how to make rice in an unconventional manner. And I know a lot of people are going to boo me for this, but this is instant rice, and you can make it in the microwave, and you can make it good and fluffy. But you've got to do it well. If you don't do it well, if you do it my method, you'll do fine with it. If you use some other stupid asshole lives in the trailer park method, you'll really F it up. So here we go. Get your bowl here. Now this has to be a glass bowl or something. I got a glass bowl here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add rice. Okay, so I got my rice here, and you guys tell me when. As you can see, it's the instant kind. So you guys tell me when. I'm going to pour it. I'm going to pour it. Say, Hebrew, stop. Hebrew, what are you doing? Hebrew, no, quit. No, you're going to fill up the bowl. All right. Thank you. I love audience participation. Use half a stick of butter or margarine. So where's half? It's pretty much up to you, my friend. I would say, whoa! In this case, this is half. Now I've left this sitting out so it's nice and soft. Push it down into the rice really, really good. And then, as you can see, it's in the rice. There, in there. And then while you've got that in there, the next thing you're going to want to do, that's the blood one, okay, is add a little bit of salt. Or, if you got ramen noodles and you save your packets, let me back up here. I tend to save the ramen noodle packets. You add a little bit of chicken flavor to your rice, and what it's going to do, it's going to add really good broth, and you won't have to add your salt. So a general rule of thumb is when you are adding your water, for every bowl of rice you add 2 or 3 fingers of water. So I'm going to put my fingers down in there. And I need about that much water. Okay? And there it is. Get about that much water in there. That looks about right. Make sure all of the rice goes down into the bowl. And put it in the microwave. We're going to put it in the microwave for, do I got the camera on the microwave? No. Put the camera on the microwave there. Okay, so we're going to put it in the microwave for 6 minutes, because that's as high as this microwave will go. Put it in there. 6 minutes. And let's take a look at our steak. And let's take a look here. Oh, that's smelling good. Ah, it smells all the good flavors. So we need to get a this was a non-stick pan at one time, a long time ago, but it's no longer a non-stick pan. Now if you got raw meat in your pan, you probably want to use different utensils, but here we go. It's smelling real good. If you want some heat, then you can add, I've got cayenne pepper, or like maybe some, this stuff here, let me show you. Some curry, some hot curry powder. But I'm not going to do that. If I want to add heat, I'll just add hot sauce to mine. I've got some Tabasco sauce that I picked up today. So to each his own. And as you saw, I added some teriyaki. Now when I throw the peppers in there, we got our peppers here. We might as well go ahead and throw them in. Throw in your peppers. I only used 1. So now you see your peppers are on top. And we're going to mix those in. And we're going to add just a little bit more teriyaki. Wait, that's soy sauce. Oh, the hell with it. Add some soy sauce into this. We got a little bit of teriyaki, a little bit of soy. It's okay. It's all good. The flavors mix in so well with each other. And as you saw me do earlier, we're going to add a little bit of lemon pepper. That'll give the meat a really good flavor. Lemon pepper is really good mixture with this, by the way. Really good. Okay, that will melt in there. We don't need the lemon pepper anymore. And you saw we had garlic earlier on. Now, if you got fresh garlic, I wouldn't suggest adding it so heavy. I don't think I added. We'll just add a little bit of garlic. Just a little bit. Just a touch. Just a pinch. Okay. Now, with the ingredients mixed in there, we will mix it up. Now, you can add as much or as little peppers as you want. I know the name of the dish is pepper steak and rice, but I think this is going to be very flavorful. You're not really going to need a whole lot of peppers, especially if it's just you. I think I can handle this by myself. There we go. I better put the rest of that butter away before it melts. And here in a minute, let's see, our rice has 2 minutes and 47 seconds. So we'll come back here in just a minute and check on our rice. It's about done. Let's go ahead and stop it now so I can show you. Take it out of there. As you see, the butter is not fully melted, so what I'm going to do, I'll take my fork. Always use a metal fork. You want to fluff it. That needs more water added to it. And that's what you do. You just check and see if it needs more water. Do you want it to be more fluffy? Do you want it to be more soggy? So that needs just a little bit more water to it. So let's go ahead and add a little bit. Okay, that should do it. Alright, get over here now. And just a little bit. Let's see now. A little bit more. The hell with it. That'll all soak up in our rice, as you know. So let's just bring that in there. Because what we're going to do is we're going to cook this for 6 more minutes, and then we got to let it all set up. We got to let it set, and when it's setting, that water will get absorbed. Now see how nice and yellow that is? That's from that flavoring. It's good. It's got a good rich flavor there. Okay, always use broth to your rice. Always do that. Well, maybe not always. Some people don't like it. Is it hot? It's a little hot. There we go. Okay, clear that off. Another 6 minutes. And I'll be right back. Let's check in on our beef while that's cooking. Take our lid off here. Oh yeah, look at that simmering in there, boy buddy. Does that look good? When that rice gets done and it's just the right fluffiness, oh my god. Look at the meat. You can smell those peppers just simmering in there, and that lemon pepper flavoring with the teriyaki and the soy sauce. Ooh, I just splashed my finger. It's gonna be so good. So good. Oh, that smells like the way my grandma used to make it. Oh, so good. Alright, let's put the lid back on, and when that rice is done, we'll pull it out of the microwave, and we'll fluff it some more, and then put a cover on it, and we should be good to go. But we'll be right back. The rice out, and what you want to do, you want to fluff. See how that water, it's gone. It's all soaked up by the rice, and that rice is nice and fluffy, and it's steaming up the lens, I know, but you just want to fluff. Just fluff your rice, and that's nice and fluffy. Now you want to let that stand for a little while, and while that's standing, we'll cover it up with a few paper plates. I don't have a lid, so we'll put a few paper plates on there. Let's see, just get, that one's kind of dirty. A few paper plates, and then put your fork on top to hold the weight down until that's done. And let's take a look at this. Look how it's simmering so fast. Yeah, look at the meat. That's done. That is done. That's ready for our rice. Okay. So the peppers are nice and tender. The meat's nice and tender, just so juicy. One thing forgot to mention is if you want to add mushrooms, and I almost added mushrooms to this, that's okay too. The mushrooms would be really good in this, especially fresh mushrooms. I might do that next time. But for now, let's put the lid back on, and we'll bring this down to medium, to a medium simmer. You can see I got a medium there, and basically done. What I would do though is I would wait 5 minutes, let that rice really settle up, and it'll be nice and fluffy. It won't be too mushy. It's never gonna be too mushy when you cook it in the microwave, especially the way I did it. And we'll see the end result here in just a few minutes. I'll be right back. Alright, so there is the finished product. I got myself a nice bed of rice there with pepper steak on it. And you can see there's plenty of meat there with plenty of peppers mixed in, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to chow down on this here in just a little bit. So hopefully yours comes out as good as mine did. And there you have it, pepper steak and rice. And there are different variants on this. I mean, you could do it with chicken, but chicken, it's not as good. It doesn't soak in the flavors of the pepper, the flavors of the celery, the onions, all that stuff is included. And as I said, I kind of took a shortcut here and there. I didn't soak my steak first with teriyaki sauce. If you do that overnight, it will be so much better, probably. But I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to enjoy my pepper steak and rice. Oh, that is delicious. Until next time. Excuse me. This has been Hero 77 with Cooking with Hero. And I'll see you next time. Stay hungry, my friends. Stay hungry.